All right, last part of Chapter 2, acid-base imbalances. One of the things our body relies on is its enzymatic function, as it drives chemical reactions in cells. I'd say that's pretty important. But check out the very narrow range of normal blood pH, 7.35 to 7.45, that maintains homeostasis. It doesn't allow much leeway before we begin to feel sick, or, worse yet, die. More hydrogen ions as compared to bicarbonate ions create an acidotic state, whereas in an alkalotic state, there are less hydrogen ions and typically more bicarbonate ions in the blood. Because of all of the normal enzymatic processes that occur in the body's cells, we lean a little bit more towards a pH of less than 7.4. If suddenly we lack oxygen in our body, for instance, normal aerobic metabolism converts to anaerobic metabolism and lactic acid is formed. The blood pH will fall. Try to remember that if there is an issue with the carbon dioxide level in the blood, the source of the problem is in the lungs. Everything else is a metabolic disorder, resulting from a change in the bicarbonate level. When the lungs are having an issue, the kidneys will begin to compensate and vice versa. And life is good. What a great body we have that works like a well-oiled machine to attempt to maintain that normal, narrow pH range. There are 3 mechanisms that read blood levels of hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and bicarbonate ions and will make adjustments as necessary to compensate for an increase or decrease in these blood values. The first one is called the buffer system, which encompasses the bicarbonate carbonic acid system, the phosphate system, the hemoglobin system, and the protein system. Let's focus on the bicarbonate carbonic acid buffer system. Look at number 2 on the diagram. During cell metabolism, carbon dioxide is produced as one of the waste products. When combined with water, it forms carbonic acid. When dissociated, hydrogen and bicarbonate ions are formed, as you see in number 3. This process can be reversed in the other direction as well, depending on the pH of the body and what is needed to maintain homeostasis. Bicarbonate is needed to neutralize those very strong acids. The lungs and the kidneys then assist with the compensatory process. If there is an increase in carbon dioxide production in the body, or more acids than we like, the patient begins to breathe a little faster to rid the body of these excesses. The kidneys, if needed, can also excrete more hydrogen ions and hold on to bicarbonate ions to help balance out the pH if there are too many acids. I spoke about the lungs and kidneys compensating when one gets a little off-kilter on the previous slide, but when they can't compensate, then we have problems. Now the patient decompensates and signs and symptoms are noted. Let's talk about each one of the disorders individually. I'm going to use the diagrams from your book because, yeah, they are that good. A patient presents in metabolic acidosis when their bodies are producing or holding on to too many hydrogen ions. It is a metabolic process that has nothing to do with lung abnormalities. Their pH falls. Reasons can include diarrhea, for instance, as the small bowel is loaded with bicarbonate ions. Loss of bicarbonate ions creates an excess of hydrogen ions. Another example has to do with the fact that if the kidneys fail, they can't excrete hydrogen ions as a compensatory mechanism because they have failed, and then there is an excess of hydrogen ions in the body. Another example has to do with anaerobic metabolism. Anaerobic metabolism equals lactic acid production, a totally bad state to find yourself in. I know we are off script a little bit here, but in extensive burn patients, there is early onset acidosis as cells and tissues are severely burned and release hydrogen ions. Push them back into healthy remaining cells, and what comes out? Hydrogen ions. Look at the bottom of the slide. We treat those patients in the first 24 hours with lactated ringer solution to try to balance out that large hydrogen ion load. Patients who have poor lung function hold on to too much carbon dioxide, which is an acid. Or we can suppress lung function by giving our patient too many narcotics, or they can take too many narcotics on their own, which is a central nervous system depressant. In a normal body, those kidneys will compensate by ridding the body of the extra acids. Now, combine poor lung function and kidney function, and that patient lives in a mildly acidotic state. Acidosis does not live well in our bodies. The nervous system becomes depressed, and the patient presents with accompanying signs and symptoms as described in your book. Now, picture someone who is extremely anxious, for instance, and they are breathing really, really fast. They are losing a lot of carbon dioxide and acid, and the scale tips. There are many more bicarbonate ions present in the body, an alkalotic state. How does your body attempt to compensate? It holds on to hydrogen ions in the kidneys, and the urine now contains more bicarbonate ions than usual. Or we get that person to calm down and begin to raise their carbon dioxide level on their own. Okay, one more. Your stomach contains a lot of acids as compared to your small bowel, which contains more bicarbonate ions. You vomit and you vomit. Or a patient has a nasogastric tube that's draining a large amount of stomach acids. Less acid means more bicarbonate, and you have metabolic alkalosis. How does your body compensate? It slows its respirations in an attempt to hold on to more carbon dioxide and acid, and the kidneys can hold on to more hydrogen ions. That's all fine and good in a healthy patient, but that slowing of respirations doesn't always work out well in sick individuals. Alkalosis irritates the nervous system. You will see signs and symptoms related to that. That wraps up Chapter 2. Another one down.